Good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Let's Get Real. I'm Larry. And this is Cody.
Hey guys.
How's everybody doing tonight? Who all we got in here, Cody?
Uh, let's see here. We got Chris Usleton, Ernie Brown. Scroll down through here. Paul Meadow. How's it going, Kevin?
What's up, Kevin?
Georgia Fisherman, 351 Cleveland, SS Jello Chicken. Got Sogo in here with us. I might have missed some. TX Tiger. How's it going? That's what I'm seeing off the top. Big Hook, Maurice Kaysen. I think I got most of them. Brad Cottle. So,
Well, good evening, everybody. And
sorry to whoever I missed.
Yeah, sorry if we missed anyone. So without any further ado, we've got Mr. Darrell from Trophy Seeker Outdoors with us tonight.
All right.
How you doing, Darrell?
Thank you for having me on tonight.
Hey, glad to have you, buddy.
Well, let's start out with saying this Saturday we've got the tag team Catfish Rumble.
Yes.
And Mr. Darrell of Trophy Seeker Outdoors is going to be on there with, be fishing it in the tournament with us. And he's got him and a couple people that watch his channel out on the boat with him. Should be a real good time.
Yes.
So that's going to be starting 7 o'clock.
Except from 7 o'clock in the morning, Eastern time to 12 p.m.
Yep.
So it's going to be a great time.
And when we talked yesterday, you was telling me you did some pre-fishing. Why don't you let everybody know how that's been going?
Yeah, I did. But I need to let y'all know one thing now. I don't want to run your other contestants off, but you need to know this. I have never, ever lost a catfish tournament.
Never lost one.
No, sir. Of course, I've never won one either because I've never been in one before.
Well, you got one there.
See, I see, Larry, I see the worried look on your face right there. I knew I had you, but
Gotta have me back it up.
I see you trying to back out right there, buddy. Oh, yeah, we did, and I'm gonna have a couple on my boat. They're friends of mine, and they've never. This is gonna be fun. So we're all experience this together. They've never actually trophy catfish before. Now they've done a lot of different fishing, but they've never been on the boat with me. And when y'all asked me to do it, I was like, heck yeah, I'll do it. You know, you guys, I'm gonna tell you, you guys are some class guys that, you know, when I met you guys, even over at the Catapalooza, I was like, these guys are like me. They just love fishing. And if I can do anything to help them out, that's what I'm going to do. And so I hit those guys up and they said, oh yeah, we'd love to do it. So they're ready to go. But yeah, I did go yesterday and do some pre-fishing, done pretty decent. It was hot. Good Lord, it was hot out there. But we didn't really, we ran what I call, do a lot of like way the bass fish did. We just went to some spots that I want to try. Would catch one and I wouldn't stay there any longer, and then I'd go to a different spot and stuff, and we did pretty good.
So won't you tell me that don't know what you're fishing?
I'm sorry, you broke up on me just a little bit.
Won't you tell everyone what waters you're fishing?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I fish on the Tennessee River in Chattanooga. Mostly it's below the dam at Chickamauga. I actually probably will start out Saturday at the dam, and then I'll run from there and go down the river a good ways. One thing I'm sure Saturday, it'd be a Memorial Day weekend, it's going to be covered up, but hopefully the first hour, I'm probably going to fish the dam just because you guys have got that trifecta where you can catch a channel, a blue, and a flathead, and that's going to bring 5 points. And I can probably fish there the first hour and catch several channel cats and probably a couple of blues. And I know if I stayed there all day, I could catch a lot of fish, but I don't want to catch a bunch of small fish. I really want to try to go target some bigger fish also. Give the people something to look at. And I'm gonna open my mouth. I probably won't catch the first big one, but that's what I target is big fish. So we're gonna try to run down the river, and I've targeted some nice fish, and we're gonna try to get on those also.
Hey, let me say this right now. If you guys like to see some big trophy fish, y'all need to go check Daryl's channel out. Go to Trophy Seekers Outdoors and check him out. Not only check him out, go ahead and give him a sub because you're going to like what he's putting out. He's putting out some real good content right now. Why don't you tell everybody what your personal best is?
My personal best is a 72-pound flathead. I actually caught it up above the dam. Myself and Bob Brett, Bobcat Outdoors, we'd been talking, and we was going to get together and go. And the below the dam was spilling like over 72,000 that day. And I told Bob, I said, "Man, it's spilling a lot. We might want to go up on the lake." And so we went up on the lake and went to Plant Sequoia, which is a radiation dam, a radiation plant, radiation electrical plant. I'll get that right in a minute. And it's funny, we weren't going to go up there, and I was like, "Hey, Bob," I said, "I'd really like to see that place. I've heard so much about it." And he goes, "Okay, we're not that far. We'll go up there." And man, we didn't drop down 5 minutes, and that thing hit. And it was a 72-pound flathead. I caught it in February. And I really think it's just because right there at that plant, there's a pipe that comes up that it cools those stacks off, and the water's about 4 degrees warmer there. It was actually like 52-degree water temperature around it, but when you moved up in front of it, I think it was like 56 degrees. And I dropped one rod straight down, and I must have dropped it on this flathead's head because he hit it, and you'd think it would have been a big fight. Wasn't much of a fight at all. I think it was just, they go into that pre-hibernatory state, I would call it. And I think it was a reaction back, and it was mostly just his weight brought up. He never really fought hard at all, but I enjoyed it. I mean, I wouldn't take it back for nothing. I mean, when we brought that thing in the boat,
He was probably.
And you guys can check that out on Trophy Seekers Outdoors. That's one of my videos out there. I'm 6'4", almost 300 pounds, and you can tell how big he was when I held him up. I didn't make him look small, and most fish I make look small. That's my personal best there. I've got a 56-pound blue as my personal best blue.
That's nice.
So he didn't put up a fight like Woody had on the video you just posted today.
Yeah. Poor Woody got the short end of the stick. He's my main fishing buddy. He got the short end of the stick. Russ was fishing with us, and I'm gonna have to throw him off the boat if he keeps bringing those dad-blame left-handed rods. He loves a left-handed rod, and he fishes with a 5500, and it's an ugly stick medium rod with 25-pound test. And I'm telling you, I felt sorry for poor Woody. I mean, it was a 45-minute fight. We couldn't tighten the drag up because we sprayed it was going to break it. It was in current. And he'd bring it in and he'd pull back out. This fish was not asleep for sure. he was fighting. That was a good fight. Yeah, you guys need to check that out. Like I say, that was a good video. That was a good fight. Of course, we didn't show all 45 minutes. We cut it up, but that was. He was tired by the time it was over with, for sure.
And I won't spoil it, but if I was Woody, I'd kill you for a minute in it. So I have to go check that out and see why.
I'm sorry. For some reason that's breaking up on my end. I didn't get what you just said. I apologize.
I said they'll have to go watch the video to see why Woody should have just about killed you there for a second, tired as he was.
Oh yeah.
I won't tell you what.
He paid me back. Well, let me tell you, we just paid each other back because if you guys, the very first video I ever put out, it's not a really good video because I was learning how to do video. Except for the last fish, which was it's my personal best 56-pound blue. He did me the same way. So you guys, when you see that, go back and watch my first video. And you'll see he did the same thing to me by accident as what I did with him. So it was just payback to him.
You did it to him on purpose. I see now the truth's coming out.
No, not me. I'm a little angel. Oh, I felt so bad. Oh my goodness, I did, because he fought that thing so hard. And then what I was doing, I was afraid to get it from the head, which we all know you should do, because it was 25 test line. And I was afraid to scoop it hard from the head that I would break that line if he did get out of the net. So I was just, if you look, I was easing it in, and and I had him all the way in the net, but just as soon as that net touched him, oh Lord, he come back alive. And I started apologizing.
I'm surprised he had that energy after that long a fight.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you see, the camera had been cut off a little bit. He was tired. There's no doubt he was tired, but it was a good fight. We've had a lot of good fish that we've caught, like I say, winter time. I know a lot of people don't like winter time, but the way I fish, it's been a really good winter for me. I don't pull up into holes and just fish a hole or come up, and I actually, and people go, there's no way, because those catfish lay down in the mud and you can't see them. I've actually learned how to, on my fish finder, to pretty much find them. And if I can't really find them, sometimes I will stop, but a lot of times I'll keep going, because there's just a certain way you can look at it. And Bob one time told me, goes, that's not fish you're looking at. And I just spot locked right there, and I could tell there was about 5 or 6 fish down there, and we caught 5. So it's just the way I've learned to find them. And a lot of people go, well, what's the one thing if you could buy to really help find fish for catfish? I'd say spend the most you can on a fish finder. That, to me, that's kept me from getting skunked so many times.
Well, what kind of electronics are you running on your boat?
I'm running a Garmin. Lord of mercy. I apologize. I had cancer 12 years ago, and I had a lot of chemo and had to go through a stem cell transplant, and it's affected my memory. And I cannot remember the numbers on it, but it's this one that'll accept live scope. It's a 9-inch. It'll accept like a live scope. And I really haven't had this one long, so I've had to really work a little harder with it. The one I had before it was the one I really used a lot, but I've learned it now. But it's just a lot of times when I see them in there, I can tell they're laying right on the bottom, and I just you'd have to go with me, and I could show you how it is. But I won't do it I won't even show on video what it is, because so many people are like, "There's no way that's a fish." But I've proved it. I mean, Woody will tell you. He'll tell you over and over that I am seeing these fish and I'm finding them, and that's the way and if I can find them, and most of the time we can set up on them and catch them. I mean, when we caught the 52, I wasn't real sure, like the one that just came out, I wasn't real sure it's fishing. And I'll say that on the video. I'd say I couldn't tell for sure, but I really thought it was. And I go on a gut feeling also. And we locked down there. We wasn't 10 minutes, and we had it on. And actually had another one that I just tried to grab by the leader and throw it up there, and it broke off. But we actually had doubles on there, and that's what I had seen down there was 2 fish. I told him, I said, I see them down there, and I'm not for sure, because it was a deep hole. It was like 50 to 60 foot deep. And I said, I'm just not real sure, but man, it looks like a good spot. We're going to try it, and we caught them.
So what's your secret bait using on all these big fish?
You know what? I know everybody says skipjack is catfish candy, and I fish with it. But I'm going to tell you that bluegill is my favorite right now. I fish with both of them, and I catch with both. But my biggest fish on every biggest fish I've caught, and I've caught several. I mean, I've caught them on bluegill. Now, well, I will say this: actually, the 72-pound I caught on a crappie head. Sure did. And I like bluegill, but it seems to me, and I don't care if anybody asks me. I don't hide anything. It seems to me when I catch those biggest fish, they're on bluegill or something besides skipjack. And I know skipjack is king in Tennessee and on the Tennessee River, but to me, the bluegill worked for me better than anything.
Well, the bluegill's definitely my favorite bait. Of course, here in our home waters, we don't have skipjack, so that makes a difference. We have shad and bluegill, but I still catch more off the bluegill than I do the shad.
Yeah.
Cody and myself was talking about that just yesterday. I cannot catch them on a shad. I mean, and I'm sure there's times that you can, but I've used them several times. And hey, I'm gonna tell you what, the shad's the last thing in the cooler that I'm gonna pull out that day, and I'm out of bait before if you see me put a shad on, I'm out of bait.
So when we seen you at Catapalooza, we seen you and Woody both had some Mad Cats in your hands.
Yeah.
And we ended up bringing home 2. We ended up buying 4, and Mama won 1. We got them out yet. We bought some new reels and got dressed up today. Have you fished with yours yet?
Yeah, I did. I fished with it yesterday. Actually I caught a 21-pound blue on mine, and Woody caught a 23-pound blue on his. And you got to take this from a guy that fishes with an ugly stick. I fish with a catfish ugly stick, and there's reasons behind that. And I'll say that because when I had my cancer, it was in my back. And those ugly sticks have so much give to them that it don't jerk me hard. You know what I'm saying? I like those new rods. Man, they will throw a country mile. I was amazed at how good they, because they're so stiff. They'll outthrow an ugly stick all day long. The only thing that I didn't like, and it's because of me, it's not because of rod, is because with those fish, you get more of a jerk. You know what I'm saying? Because that rod's stiffer. The other thing I am really used, and I've grown up with it, a trigger part, what I call a trigger, but the little piece underneath that I hold the rod with my finger. And I'm used to that with the ugly sticks, you know, the little finger hold down there. And it doesn't have that on there, so that feels a little weird for me. But other than that, man, it's a nice rod. You can tell it's well built. But it just, I'm like, boy, if I catch a 60-pounder on this thing, it's going to break my back just because. But it does give. Now, I'm going to tell you, it is an awesome rod. So I'm not downing it. It's just different to me from what it'd be like somebody using one of those rods, that's all they use is those rods and pick up an ugly stick. It's just so different. You know what I'm saying? It's right. Totally different.
I understand that. What reels you running? I know we ended up buying 3 Lew's Laser XL, and we did it because live stream fishing that was the reel that was recommended a lot.
Right.
Fished with them. We're going to give them a try. What do you normally equip your rods with?
I used to fish with the Ambassador 6500s, but now I fish with the Okuma Classic 300s. And the reason I do that again is because a lot of it's because of my back. They're a 4-to-1 ratio, and they got the big handle on it. And so I fish with a 6-ounce sinker, and usually a piece of bait just close to the size of my hand. And the way I fish, I do a lot of reeling in, and that 4-to-1 ratio really does a good job reeling in. And when you catch it, I'm gonna tell you, when you catch a 45-pound to 60-pound catfish in the current there at the Tennessee River, running 30 to 70,000 CFM, you want a reel that's going to be geared where you can bring that fish in, because that's a fight on your hand. I got a video out, Double Trouble, where I caught I think it was a 47 and a 27 at the same time. That was a battle, and I was using the Ambassadors, and I would have been a lot easier to get those 2 in if I'd had the Okumas, just because of how much easier they are to reel.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm looking forward to trying these new Lew's out. I've never used a Lew's rod. I've used the Ambassadors like I said, a lot over the years, and the Swedish made Ambassadors are really good reels. Now I'm going to tell you, the Chinese made Ambassadors, I would give you a nickel for them.
Right. Mine's all the older ones, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I still have them. And if I want to fish a lake, I would do it. I love to feel that fight. You know what? That's the thing. I don't want to get something that's so big that you're reeling in a catfish and it feels like you got a bluegill on it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I love that. That's why I know it's called Trophy Seekers Outdoors, but I'm not arrogant. And if it's not a 50-pound fish, I don't want it. No, a trophy is what's in the eye of the beholder. Is what I always say. You guys watch my videos. I take people out all the time, and I love to watch them catch. A lot of times you'll see me. I won't catch maybe one fish during that whole trip. I'll let them reel them in. I love to see their faces when they catch those things, and if their PB is a 10-pound catfish, that's a trophy, guys. It's what a trophy is what it is to that person that's catching it, and that's the way I look at it.
Yeah, I mean, that's like us, here on the lake that we fish all the time. If we catch a 50-pound fish, we're getting up top notch. Yeah, it's a possibility you might catch a 70-pound fish.
Yes,
and definitely be big as it is.
Right. Be like a 100-pound fish on most if you catch a 70 on ours.
Oh, I can't wait for you guys to come down here and fish with me. I think we'll have a really good time down here. So.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to just play guide. I'm going to put you out on there and say, here, boys, here they are. Go at it.
I tell you, I'm looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward, too, to my wife, while we were down there at Catapalooza, she won a guided trip to Santee Cooper.
Oh, cool. Nice.
And Paul Blackwell.
Yeah, with Captain Paul Blackwell. So
fish on charters.
Yeah, so I'm definitely looking forward to that one, too.
Oh, what do you mean you're looking forward to it? Your wife's going at it. You can't go on that. Look at you. Look at you trying to take the spotlight from her, aren't you?
I got to make sure she does everything right.
Well, I can tell you this much. I bet you she knows how to tie on her own hook, sinker, and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. She's pretty good at tying hooks. Well,
hey, as long as it's a short hook with a piece of paracord, she's got it whooped, don't she?
That's
right. Congratulations on that, too. I watched that. I laughed. That was pretty good. That was some intense ladies right there.
There was. They were into it for sure.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I sat down with her hook and paracord the day after, and myself time, and I tell you, they were as quick as I could do. Thought that I could quicker, but there was my best run was about the speed that they were doing. Yeah, right. They were really doing well. I mean,
oh yeah.
So didn't look.
Hats off to them. They can time mine anytime they want to.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'd have been all thumbs trying to do that fast.
Yep. Yeah. Sogo said the Lose and the Pissy Fun Chaos 50 are very similar. And we're going to buy some more of the Chaos 50. I was going to buy a Lose and he was going to buy the Chaos 50s. But I don't think they're shipping them out as quick right now. They're running a little slow on stock. But I know that that's a great budget reel that really will put the fish in the boat without you worrying about your equipment. So, yeah, that's a good way to go too, Sogo.
Yeah. Hey, I'd like to say one other thing. I'd like to give a shout out to my buddy Joe Jellison at Chat Cats.
Yeah.
He is the guy that I learned how to fish for these trophies in. And I'm a true statement of if you want to learn how to catch a giant catfish, go to YouTube. That's how I learned to catch them, was on YouTube. I fished for catfish, and the biggest catfish I ever caught was 15 pounds. And I thought, man, in North Georgia, that was a pretty good fish, And there's got to be a way to get bigger fish. And I started going on YouTube watching, and I come across this guy that was catching them up there in Chattanooga like crazy. And I studied how he was doing it, looked at everything he had, listened to what he was doing, and he really. He hadn't put as many videos out lately as he will now. Down at school, he's a school teacher. So, and he's a good teacher on catfish too. But I watched that, and I actually, that's where I got started. I went up to the Tennessee River, and first time I'd ever been on it, and caught catfish. And then I actually would look. after being on the river, I could see where he was fishing at, and I would go to his spots, not to fish them, but I'd look at them with my graft and look at, because he puts his out pretty much every week, and then I'd go try to find something like that, because I knew that's what type of area, and I bass fish a lot, so I knew that was the area he was catching them in, or the type structure and stuff. And then I would go down the river and start trying to find a place like that, and that would mimic it. And that's how I learned how to fish for large catfish. I used his rigging, which I've changed it up some now, and he's actually changing the way I fish with it's pretty much a Santee Cooper rig. I put a float on there, and it's helped me a lot from actually getting hung up in the river. Plus, I think it's helped me. I think we lost everybody, but I'm still here. Where'd everybody go? But if I'm still on, that helped me to learn how to fish a lot, was to watch him go to where he was catching them at, and then I would go find my own place. Because if I just followed him around fishing his holes, what did I learn?
Right.
So he taught me, and watching also Combat Carl, he fishes that area, Kayak Catfish. Those guys, I would watch them, see what they was doing, and learn from that. So that's actually where I didn't go. And now Joe and I did go out and fish back during December, but I had already learned. I'd actually caught my 56-pound blue before he and I ever actually got out and fished together on a trip with him that I'd booked. I had booked it like 4 or 5 months ahead, because that far out. And by that time, I had already started learning how to catch them.
Right.
So it was from him. He's like, man, you already caught your PB. I don't know if we're going to catch something that big. I said, look, hey, what your fee is has paid off for me 10 times fold by just watching your YouTube videos, and that's the way I learned.
That's just like you said, and that's the great thing about the catfish community on YouTube. It's the greatest community in the world. They're not. It's not just community. These guys are family.
Yeah.
And they don't care to share their knowledge with you and help you grow together. And that's the great thing about them.
Well, that's the thing is, somebody asks me something, I'm not going to lie to them. I'm going to tell them exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and then ask them, please release the fish you catch, especially the big catfish. I mean, those are the ones with genetics. I use it as, I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. If you catch something like me and throw it back, I might have some little ones that grows up to be my size too, instead of one that's 2 foot and and size of a football. He's never going to get any bigger. Genetics, I feel like, is a big thing. And like I said, anytime anybody's ever wanted to know anything, I've always asked them or told them I've only really been fishing for giants catfish, what I call big catfish, since about December. I started fishing in December. It's just, I go a good bit. I usually go about once a week, and I try to learn something every time I go, and I do, because I haven't been doing it that long, and I learn a lot. My YouTube channel's only 3.5 months that I've been going with it.
Right. And to catch the caliber of fish you've been catching, that's really, really awesome.
Yeah, it's blessed. Like I say, I've been blessed, and a lot of luck too. I feel like a lot of luck. I don't feel like I'm that great. I think a lot of it's luck, and I say a lot of it's that graft. I really believe, people, like I say, people say, well, you can't see a catfish when they're laying down in the bottom of that hole. I sort of believe I can. If I can't, they sure are making me look like I can anyway.
Yeah, my wife blessed me with a new Garmin for Christmas, and man, we put that on the boat. And like you said, you can see more down. You can tell what's down there, and it was a game changer when it comes to fish.
I use that 2D, and I use the down image in both. Because what might look like a fish on that 2D, when you look down on that down image, is actually just something sticking up off the bottom. I've seen a lot of times when they were arches, and I thought, wow, before I had down image and I seen that arch, I would have thought it was 4 or 5 fish down there, arches. And whenever the down engine come up, heck, it was a dang tree laying there, not no fish. Of course, again, the fish may have been laying in the tree, but you know what I'm saying. It's not, it could be a stump, it could be a rock. And when you got both of those things running together and you sort of learn how to put those two together, they'll talk to you.
Yep. That's what we run. Daddy will run the side imaging sometimes when we're looking for structure. Not really to look for fish, but more or less look.
Right. Yep. That's great.
But we run the 2D, your traditional, and the clear view or down imaging at the same time, pretty much constantly.
Yeah.
On the clear view, it just show up as a dot, but that's your fish, and you wouldn't notice it as easy. But you got the clear view shows it as a dot, but then the traditional shows it as an arch. So when you look, you see the arch, you can verify whether it's structure you're actually looking at or a fish.
Absolutely.
You know, it's going to be.
And I'll tell you, I'll give you another thing that I do. And like I say, people may pick me totally apart because that's, like I say, that's one reason I don't even show what I'm looking at when I do a video, because everybody reads these graphs differently. You know what I'm saying? But if I see, this is me, because I've done it enough times. If I see a fish that's like 3 or 4 foot up off the bottom, and that's all I see is fish that's 3 or 4 or 6 feet off the bottom, I generally won't fish that. Because I don't know if that's a catfish. Here's the thing, I don't know if it's a catfish or a gar or whatever. Plus, to me, when I see that, I'm thinking they're traveling. So by the time I get set up, they may be headed on up the river. I want to find that one that's laying in that hole that I can tell he's just laying right there on the bottom. And that's the one I'll set up on way more times than I'll set up on something that I see suspended off the bottom 5 or 6 feet. I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but that's the way I am.
Right. So when you're fishing, do you tend to fish the deeper water or the shallower water more?
Wherever I can find them is where I fish. And I know that sounds convoluted, but it's like I say, when I fish by that graph. Now I will say this: the first thing I start doing is looking at ledges and structure. See, I learned from Joe, but Joe and I actually, this video that came out today that Joe's put out today, where he and I fished it, we actually fish a little differently. He loves down trees that he can actually see that's fell off in the river. He loves them. I can't catch a fish off of them. I would rather find one that's down in the river that's structured, and I'll fish off it. And so even though I learned from him and our rigs are set up a lot different, we still fish a little differently. You know, I know where a lot of different, what I call holes are in the river where they come off deeper and stuff, but I also fish a lot of channel edges and ledges and stuff. So there's not one particular way that I fish, and I feel like that makes me a little better because you can get hung up on doing the same thing over and over. It's like the bass fisherman that fishes Lake Lanier all the time, and he goes to the same places all the time, and these other bass fishers come in for a tournament and they win it because they didn't know what they're doing, so they just went to looking and found them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think that gives me just a little bit of advantage, just because I don't just always go to a certain hole. Now I will say I've got some favorite holes that I will go look at first, but if I don't find them there, I won't fish. I'll go find somewhere else, and that's helped me a lot too.
Yeah, me and Cody sometime we kind of got. I want to fish. I want to look for those fish, and he got certain spots he just sees he wants to fish, and I'll be like, I ain't no fish in there. I don't see any fish, but he wants to fish it anyway.
Yeah. Well, a lot of it's instinct. Let me tell you what I did. And if I get too long when you guys stop me, I run my. I know I do, and I apologize if I'm getting too long.
No, we're on your channel.
I took a film crew out about 2 months ago. Fish North Georgia. One of the owner he's a production. He shoots commercials, all that stuff, and they wanted to go out and shoot a video. And so I said, okay, I think we'll probably go find some. You know, I went 2 days before, and man, we just wiped up on them. And so the day they came, they had cut the water down to 6,500 CFM. Man, I had more camera equipment on the boat than I had fishing equipment. I mean, these big cameras, lens boxes, drones, and everything. And I get out there and I can't find nothing. I fished different places. I mean, I'd see them and they were not hitting. The water was down. Wind was blowing hard, and you talking about stress. I was so stressed out. Now I've got these guys, they're like that, they're flying drones and this big camera pointing in my face, and I'm like, Lord have mercy. And I'm apologizing, telling them, guys, I usually find. But by the end of the day, I said, look, I'm not looking at this draft anymore. I'm going to where I think there's going to be some fish yet that I know I've caught them at. And if they ain't there, they just ain't there. Quit looking at the graph, went to some places that I knew had held fish in the past, and I knew it was a good spot. Boom, we started catching one right there. And it's like, man, I should have started down there. So sometimes that graph's not worth 50 cents too, but 99% of the time it is. But I just went on instincts. I'm like, I'm going to this place. I know there's good fish there. And I just went on my instincts of this is what's worked for me, and it panned out. So
I just get impatient sitting there watching for them, because it takes a lot of slow trolling and stuff to really survey an area or cover the water and really watch for fish. And then also, you're not always sure that fish, because we'll.
Right.
So I'm like, well, let's just go somewhere we know that we're getting good transitions. We know that we've got some good muddy bottom, some good sandy bottom, or some small shelly rock that we know we'll want to bury up in some. And or there's some structure around that we already know's there. And we get out on the lake a lot in the winter. We're really familiar with what all structures in the water, not just from looking at it in a graph.
Absolutely.
Where we're fishing a reservoir, we physically see it in the winter. So I get impatient rolling around and just want to go try some spots.
Right.
Sometimes it does, sometimes, but also neither one of us have used a graph much, so I don't put a lot of weight behind his opinion of what he's looking at.
Hey, sons generally don't listen to daddy, do they?
I can tell you, I don't know.
He'll get smarter the older you get. Don't worry about it.
That's right.
The older you get, the smarter daddy's going to be. I promise you.
So, but we use it, and but we don't depend on it as much as we should. But I mean, it's definitely a good tool to have in the boat, and if it's in your means, we're fortunate enough to have a very nice unit in our boat. But I mean, not to say that if you're getting out in a little John boat and you ain't got anything on it, there's still, like you said, fish off instinct. There's still fish out there that up on.
What is that? Avionics. Download that Avionics, and it'll show you the rivers. It'll show you where the deep spots are. It'll show you the drop offs. It'll show the ledges. That, to me, that is very, very important. It'll show you where pinch points are, where the creeks come in. Now, I'm not, because like I say, I tell people to afford the best electronics you can afford. I fished with a Walmart cutting board and like I say, I ugly sticks, cheap stuff. But once I learned how to use that graph, I bought the best one that I could afford to fish with, because they just get the more expensive ones are a lot clearer. You know what I'm saying? And but there's times, and I'll tell you what else I do. I see these guys that sit on a hole for 3, 4, 5 hours. More power to you guys, but that's not me. I go set up, especially in that river. When I go set up in that river, it's getting about 20 minutes at the best. And if it doesn't get about in 20 minutes, I'm going to hunt something else. I mean, I give them 20 minutes. And of course, now if I catch one, I'm going to give them longer. But, if I'm fishing like say a muddy, stumpy area and at 24 foot deep and I didn't get anything, and then I go fish another one and I don't catch anything, even though if I see the fish, Okay, now I'm going to go try to find some rocks, or I'm going to fish shallower. I'm continuously, that's one I say I do is I hunt those fish. It's just, to me, if I've got to sit on a hole for 4 hours and wait on 2 fish, man, just take me to the house. That's just the way I am. And it's worked out for me really good like that. Just I give them 20 minutes. Hey, if all that fish juices didn't get them hungry enough to come in 20 minutes to me, I'm not going to wait them to come to me. I'm going to them.
That's right.
And you said that you tend to just fish shallow or deep. I know a big difference, or you don't have a preference. You're going
right. No, I could care less. I'm going to fish where I can find the fish. Yes, sir.
And I tend to really prefer shallower, 15 foot, 20 at the max.
Right.
Because I feel like we've seen fish, or catfish. I mean, or not know, but really good indication that they're catfish. What we're seeing on the graph, and it doesn't seem like when you see that in deep water, you're as likely to get a bite as you do when you're in shallow. And I know other people feel this way. I've heard it said, if they're in shallow water, there's only one reason they're in shallow, and that's to feed.
Yeah, I saw a video the other day that said that guy that actually I think Kevin was fishing with the gentleman, and that's what he said. And I was like, well, that makes a lot of sense, especially in a lake. Now, see, a river, to me, fishing a river and fishing a lake is just 2 different whole situations.
Definitely, you're getting in the current breaks, finding the current breaks,
Yes,
getting behind that structure where it's breaking, where the bait's going to be, and that's where the fish are going to be feeding in that river.
Yeah.
Yep. No current.
Yeah.
Virtually no current.
And I don't even let a current break. I don't let a current lake determine where I fish at also. In other words, I've caught them a lot of times not in a current break. That it was further over or whatever. So I do fish current breaks, but that's not a primary thing for me.
Okay.
But yeah, to me, structure, different pinch points, different ways that the bottom of the river comes in, how it drops off. To me, and I know, like I say, there's 1,000 opinions out there, but to me, that is more important to me than a current break. To me, that's just the way I am, especially fishing for the bigger fish. There's just certain ways that I found was a better way to catch a bigger fish than worrying about this huge, deep 80-foot hole that's, running, that's a current braid that's, you got to lay it right here and out there. And like I say, there's a lot of big fish that come like that, but I've found consistently fishing a little different than that, catching them.
Right.
Yeah, well, it's definitely working. The proofs in the videos.
Yeah.
And anybody that hadn't heard us say it, that's joined us, be sure to go over to Trophy Seeker Outdoors, check out his videos. Go ahead and drop us a like on a couple of them. Let him know what you think about it. Sure, you'll enjoy them. So go ahead and subscribe too. He's great content over there.
We also have a Facebook page. And you're going to see, and this is what I do for my Facebook page. The fish my videos are usually 3 weeks to a month behind. And there's, one of the main reasons for that is because if I ever get skunked, and I was telling Cody that I've been well blessed. I've never been skunked. I've been fishing on that river since before, like I say, around December is when I really started getting on it. I haven't gotten skunked on it, but I know I'm going to. But I've got to, I'm ahead on videos. So if you want to see fish that I'm catching before that video comes out, it's on my Facebook page. It's Trophy Seekers Outdoors Facebook page. You'll see the fish that I'm catching right then. That's going to come out that you'll see the video in 2 or 3 weeks, and you go, oh, I want to see that video because I've seen it. So you get a sneak peek of what's coming up on our videos if you go like that page also.
Well, yeah, definitely do that then. So we've got him followed on our account, and so we'll make sure we keep an eye on it so we know. we've got something exciting coming on your channel.
I appreciate it.
I got a blown nose. I got a runny nose.
We've talked about, bait, and we've talked about equipment that you used and everything. So do you have a favorite rig or
Yes, sir, I do.
like to use?
Yeah, I actually fish, but it's a Carolina rig. That's, I guess it's probably a Santee Cooper rig also. It's basically, I fish with a 6-ounce sinker on a slider, a sinker slider, then Carolina rig type, and then I use, have a swivel, and then usually somebody says, how long of a leader do you use? I say, well, I usually want to stay around 18 inches, but sometimes they wind up over 2 foot. Whatever they wind up when I get through tying them is how long of a leader. But somewhere between 18. But I also put a 3-inch line float about 4 inches above my hook. That floats up, and I know it's current, but that big float, that 3-inch float plus the bait, it's got some buoyancy to it. I found it floats it up off the bottom. And just to be honest with you, even in that current, seems to help my bite. And I know it's helped from breaking my rigs off,
Right.
So that's what I fish with. It's Santee Cooper. Most of the guys around there are using them that way. Didn't used to use the floats, but I seen these guys using these floats when they were dragging. I'm like, it keeps them up on up off the bottom, when you guys are trolling, and I call it dragging, but trolling, I was like, it's got to help on when I'm, I anchor 99% of what I do is anchor fish. It's just hard to try to, drag baits in that river and not get hung up.
Have to put drift socks to even come close to slowing you down, wouldn't you?
No, drift sock's not going to help me. No, sir. But when I first started, I do free line some. And actually Saturday, that's what I'll start out doing is free lining, just because up there at the dam, I can catch a bunch right quick. And but like I say, I'm not going to just sit up there and do that, because I might catch 23 or 4 pounders the whole tournament, and that's not what I'm about. It doesn't matter if really, yeah, it does. I'm not gonna lie. You want to win it, even though we're just doing it for fun. But I feel like I owe it to my viewers not to sit there, and I'm going to use chicken and use small pieces of chicken, knowing I'm going to catch 3 or 4. And I could hook a 40-pounder. It's been done before. But I know my chances of catching a bigger fish is going on down the river to my place. And the reason I tell people, the reason I go down the river a long ways from the dam is because there's so many people that put in right at that dam, and the pressure is in there, and there's going to be so many boats. I'm going to go down and fish further down on places that I pre-fished yesterday, and try to get into those big fish, to put some big fish on there too. Might not do it, but we're going to give her a sure try to catch something that's well over 20 pounds.
Well, while we're on the topic of terminal tackle, I just want a quick shout out to Hooker's Terminal Tackle. They've supported the channel in the past, and then I've got some 8/0 hooks of theirs, circle hooks, and I'm telling you what, my favorite tips look like I've been paying porcupine. They are the sharpest hooks
There you go.
ever put on. Normally, I don't have to worry about it too much. You roll one towards you a little bit, as long as you don't really gouge yourself. They're not going to prick you up too much, especially you got calluses on your hands.
Right.
They sharpest hooks that I've ever touched, and they seem like really, really great hooks. My first time using them, but I'm excited to get them out there. They've got a nice twist to them, and they're extremely sharp. So just wanted to put that out there. If anyone's looking for a good brand of hook to go, they're a great hook to go with. Also, we ordered some Whisker Seeker hooks, which we've used in the past, but I didn't realize how much bigger Whisker Seeker hooks are for the size than they are of other brands. We were comparing 8/0 from one brand to another, and the Whisker Seeker hooks are quite a bit bigger. So keep that in mind if you're going shop, if you're shopping online for them. Their 6/0 hook was the size of most other brands' 8/0 hook.
Yeah, I use the Whisper Seekers, what is it, triple action or something like that?
Yeah.
That's what I use, the 8/0. It's a heavy wired hook and it's really sharp. And I've had some good luck with them. And I buy my stuff. Nobody sponsors me, so I'm not saying something because of that. But that's what I've used. The Whisker Seekers. I think it's called triple thread, isn't it?
Yeah.
I can't remember for sure. And I really like them. They seem to, like I say, it's a little bigger. Now, I will say this, that the smaller fish, they don't hook quite as good. I'll miss smaller fish with them just because they are a heavier wire. So, and actually when we start this tournament Saturday, I'll be using actually a small 5/0 hook because I'm going to be, I know I'm going to catch smaller fish, but then I'll be using those big 8/0 hooks whenever I go further down the river now.
Yeah, that's the thing. We've had, Uncle Lou and Hooker Terminal Tackle and Kitty Chasers. They helped us out with one in Whisker Derby with Palmetto and gave us some stuff to give away. But other than that, yeah, we're funded by us too. Yes, we're definitely balling on a budget.
There you go. Trying to get to 1,000, baby. Trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Guys, hit that subscribe button for not just myself, but for 3+1 also. They're great guys. I'd say from the time I met you guys, you're just like me, down to earth, God-fearing people, and want to try to do the right thing for the sport and be, I always, we're supposed to be a light to the world, when we're, out here and want to do right, but we want to do right in the catfish world also, and where people see us and say, well, that's so and so, and he shot it straight. That's what I want people to know about me. If you ask me something, I'll guarantee you I'm going to tell you as straight as I can. If I see you out there on the river, and I've done it a lot of times, a guy say, hey man, where's a good place to go at? I'll send them right down where I'm fishing at, because we had it just yesterday. There were some people, 2 different places that I was going to fish. They were sitting there set up, and I was like, doggone, that's 2 of my favorite spots. But we just went to other places and find them. Somebody's sitting in my spot that I've told them, I don't care. Heck, I'm going to go try to find something else. You know what? That makes me a better fisherman because I got to find a new hole. So that's the way I look at it. I don't get mad at that.
The secret's out now as a video, so there it is. Now.
That's right. It's a video, and like I say, a lot of things too. Like I say, I'm 3 to 4 weeks out. You may see that hole and go fishing. I may be long gone in another hole. The fish maybe took off somewhere you can't tell. So make yourself a great fisherman and go find. Go look at what I'm doing. I don't care. Do like I did with Joe, and then go find your own places too. That man, there's so many places out there. Catfish just don't stay in 6, 7 holes in a 15-mile area on the river.
Especially the blue cats. The blue cats are on the move. Those blue cats, they don't have a home where they stay. A flathead, I believe, will get in a general area and stay in that area its whole life.
Yeah.
Blue cats, they're on the move. Other than the wintertime. Wintertime they'll get in the wintering hole, but other than that, the blue cats are on the move.
Yeah.
At least for our waters, that may be different other places, but especially where we're at, the flatheads, it's they get that structure or that creek mouth they really like, and they seem to be hunkered down there more times than not. And blue cats, they've been really unpredictable for us. We can go to a place that we think we can set them on fire and then it not do a thing, but go back to a place where we've not caught a thing and really be setting them on fire and it be similar. So it does seem that they travel a lot more.
I think they find places that they like better at some points than they do at others. I can tell you that. There will be times, and I'm not experienced enough to know to say what you guys are saying. You guys probably know way more about me as far as they stay like flathead staying in the same place. I don't know. I seem to find them in the same places. You know what I'm saying right now? But I don't know if they move or not. I say I've only been doing it 6 months. Once I get 4 or 5 years under my belt, I'll know a little more about it. I'm still green as a gourd, as they say. But I know I can go somewhere. I've got a place, and hey, I'll just tell you where it is because everybody knows it. Heck, I'm sitting there and guns are going off like crazy. There's a firing range. I've got a favorite place right there, and I pull up there and shoot. I can catch them left and right. And I did it for like 4 weeks, and man, I went back to it again, and they couldn't beg for a bite for a month. Couldn't get it. They'd moved off that place. And see, one thing too, also the rivers continuously fluctuating a lot more than a lake will. So that river may drop 4 or 5 feet this week and be up to full pool the next week, and the next week be up 3 foot high. So it's different. So you are continuously hunting on a lot more, I believe, because I did fish on Chickamauga Lake for about probably a month and a half, 2 months when we were having so much rain and you couldn't get on the river. And I found on the lake that I would find them more in the same places over and over up there on the lake, more so than on the river.
Right.
So
yeah,
I didn't know that.
I'm reading in the comments, and somebody said, of course, you follow the bait, you'll find the fish, and that certainly is true. But I in my experience, I found when we find huge amounts of bait, I'm talking about pull into a cove, and it wouldn't matter where you threw a cast at, pull up a full thing of shad or something. It's sometimes harder to get a bite, and I don't know if it's because of the abundance of bait, but we do better whenever we're finding just 1 or 2 balls of shad and then fishing next to those versus just a absolute covered up in bait. I think it may just be because they've got so much to choose from. If there's that eat there, they've got less likelihood of picking yours.
See, this is where I'm going to probably get people to go, he's an idiot again. I don't follow bait. I care less about bait. And if there's bait there, I'm okay with it. Hey, I found bait yesterday. Bait was just all over me, coming up left and right. Guess what was with them? A big old school of gar. I couldn't catch a catfish in one. Had to move out of that. That was the first spot we stopped at. I was like, holy smoke. If they show up on the video, it'll be coming out on the video. But I bet there was 100 gar there just destroying that bait, But I don't, just to be honest with you, it doesn't, whether I find bait or not, as long as I find the fish, I'm going to fish it, I guess bait's a plus, but I'm just going to be honest with you, I don't hunt bait. I don't hunt bait to be able to catch catfish. I might be, I might be even a wonderful, I might be the best fisherman in the world if I ever start chasing bait. I don't know, but the idiot's finding them without bait. That's all I can tell you.
I personally think there's just such thing as too much bait in that area. I
don't doubt it.
Probably against popular opinion.
That's probably why I'm catching them. Poor old fish is starved to death. There ain't no bait around. They're like, we got to have one of them nasty, stinking bluegills he's sending out here. At least he could do is send us some good tasting skipjack catfish candy. He's throwing us this old nasty bluegill. We haven't seen a piece of bait in 6 days.
You using live more often or not, or cut bluegill?
I use cut more than live. Now, I'm going to throw some live just because I'm going to try to catch the flathead, but I catch flathead on, we caught a flathead yesterday on cut bluegill. I'm going to throw a live bluegill though. So.
I love using that bluegill head. That's probably my favorite, is put that head out there.
Yeah. Oh, especially for flatheads. I found bluegill any head of a piece of bait. I believe that the flathead prefer that way more than the body pieces. Now blues, you can catch them both ways. I've got rattles that I put on mine. I can't tell the difference between whether they hit the rattle or not, but I can tell you, I found the heads work a lot better for the flatheads than the body pieces.
Yeah.
So.
I've never thought it made a big difference, but he's fine with that because he wants to fish with every head we cut off. So I very well could be wrong because he swears by the head. He swears by the head. He thinks that it's the best bait there is. And
maybe we ought to get Dieter Melbourne to do a study on it.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to tell y'all something. People will laugh at Dieter, but I'm going to tell you something. When he does something, now he'll do it and keep up with it to where he knows what does better. Of course, I think with heads and the body pieces might have to do with different times. I don't know, but I mean, that's one thing the man does. He does when he does something to find out what's best. He goes all out and he just don't do one trip and decide that's it. So he's a knowledgeable person. I can tell you that.
And I think I heard him say he's recorded every fish he's caught. I think I heard him say that in one of the videos.
Yeah, I actually was at his when he was doing the Tall Cook at Caterpillar. There's only a few of us. Actually, it was later on Friday, and I think people were just getting out. There's only a few of us in the room. Man, I got to pick his brain. He don't have much brain left. I picked it so much. So, and it's because he and I got, of course, fish totally different, but there's times I have to go up on that lake, and I asked him a lot of different questions about the lake fishing, because if I'm up on Chickamauga, that to me, that's not that much difference in the lake he's fishing, and dragging baits and stuff like that. I want to tell you, that's a lot of, y'all drag baits, don't you?
We
That's a lot of work, guys.
I think so. That's why I just assume anchor up, but he wants to cover water, and I think that he's right. It definitely produces more fish, but we're recording or going live every time, and it's so much easier sitting still. And between trying to record and drift at the same time, I find it about impossible.
Yeah, well, I have a stationary camera that I have that just sits on the rods, but Lord of mercy, you're trying to stay on this certain path. You got the rods behind you. You're trying to watch them, watch the front of the boat, watch the graph. Man, I'm a lazy fisherman. Y'all work so hard. I can't handle that. I'm lazy. Let me anchor up and throw some rods out. We'll see what happens.
We're a small lake too, and there's nowhere that you can make just a real long.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna come to the end of a cove or something, and you can't drag the main lake hardly because you're just gonna get blown out of the water. So that's another thing. Once you get set up, you gotta, it's not 30, 45 minutes, and then you're at the end of the area and you have to reset. It'd be different if some of these other guys get to pull these real long pulls.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind it as much, but constantly resetting, it just seems like a lot of work.
Right. You're talking about blown out of the water. When you come down here and fish with me on the Tennessee River, one of them big barges come by and jet skis, and you're on the river, there's nowhere for that weight goes. You're going to get tired of that too.
I believe it.
I've been up on Lake Barkley, and the barge come through, and it's rough.
Yeah. So, but I actually, most of my fishing is during the week. I own my own business, or my wife owns our own business. Everything's in her name. She don't trust me. I don't blame her. She's a smart woman. But I'll take off one day during the week and go fish up there. Man, it's just a lot better. But you don't have the boat traffic and stuff like that. But like I say, it's different.
We need to talk about this. So the wife owns her own business, and you get to fish all the time. Can she talk to my wife?
Hey, y'all stay out of my business. Look, I know when I got my cake and I eat it too, and y'all ain't getting on my cake. Oh, man.
Want to be outdoors? Said bluegill head is golden ticket or 3. And that's the only time I throw live. I never throw a live bait that's any longer than 4 inches long. And I see a lot of people throw these live baits, and I'm just always leery about chucking something out there. It's something I've got to probably get more comfortable with, because I know big bait produces big fish. That's not always the truth either, because I've caught some of the biggest fish I've caught have come on little bitty baits.
Chicken big as the end of your thumb.
So, but yeah, if I do throw live bait, if I get a bluegill that's smaller than what I want to cut up, I'll throw it out there live. And I like doing that. I've gotten bit on those a lot here lately. Or once it does die, I'll take and fillet the sides up, not take the fillets off, just up each side, so it makes a little bit of a bigger bait and puts that juice out in the water.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you what size I fish with, okay? And just all seriousness here. I open that cooler up and I look in there and I see that fish, and that's the one I fish with. It's that big. Whatever size is in my cooler. If he's a big one, then I'm going to put him in there, or live bait, whatever. I mean, I'm not going to, if I got 10 live baits, that live brim in my bait bank, I don't fish around trying to find the biggest. I grab the one that's in there and throw them out there. You know what I'm saying? I've caught big fish on big bait, and I've caught big fish on small or medium bait. I don't throw just a real little. Usually my baits, I would say, are 3 to 4 ounces. But I mean, if I've got a big bluegill in there and I cut his head off, that's going to be a pretty decent sized bait. And then I'll use the rest of its body. So, and same thing with a skipjack. You got a 3-pound skipjack and you cut his head off. That's pretty good sized bait. So, I mean, shoot, you don't always, when you're catching bait to go catfish with, you don't always catch a big bait. So, whatever's in my cooler of live well, that's what I'm going to fish with.
I know the other day, Kayak Catfish, he hit 100,000 subscribers and he had a live, and Palmetto asked him in the chat what was the largest bait he had ever used, because he's known for using real big baits.
Yeah.
And caught fish on it. And he said he had used 2-pound bass.
Yeah.
A whole bass. Live,
2 pound.
2-pound live bass.
Well, you have to run a stinger rig, a double hook rig.
Something, yeah.
But that seems giant to me.
Well, I'm not going to lie. Back in the wintertime, I was having trouble catching some bait. Couldn't catch bluegill, couldn't catch skipjack, and I caught like 5 bass right there. And I threw them in my eye well. I said, boys, if I can't catch any bluegill or something, y'all going fishing with me. They went fishing with me that day. I caught some nice fish with their bass heads and bodies. I'm not gonna lie, boys. When you get there, I drive an hour and a half one way to get to the closest boat dock that I get to. When you drive an hour and a half, and then you want fresh bait, and you got to fish, you sit there and you fished up there trying to catch in the middle of the winter, trying to catch some bluegill, and they ain't coming, and you start all of a sudden you found a place where some largemouth, smallmouth, whatever it's in, and you get them in the boat, you're gonna fish with them. You don't want to go back home because you couldn't catch no bait. I'm not gonna lie about it. I know that'll, and I don't do it all the time because I try to respect the bass fishermen out there too, and try to release them, But just honest, I've fished with them before a couple of times when I couldn't catch nothing else because I'm the world's worst bait fisherman there ever was anyway.
Well, if I was out there and, I needed bait and I caught me a little channel cat, I'd sacrifice him for bait too.
Oh, I've used catfish. I've used channel cat for bait, cut them up and used them. Yes, sir, I sure have. I'm telling you. And people say, well, catfish is a bottom dweller. No, sir, he's a fisherman opportunity.
That's right.
I mean, if something comes there that he can eat inside, look, they eat mussels, but they'll eat. Somebody, a guy was fishing me, thought they eat cow poop. We were next to a cow pasture. I said, no, that's it. They're not bottom feeders where they eat cat, other fish manure, stuff like that. They just dwell on the bottom. They stay on the bottom, but they're going to eat the same thing a bass or anything else is. But I think they're a fish of opportunity, and if they see that bait coming at them and it smells like food, they're going to eat it.
Yeah, actually, I mean, catfish wants fresh bait. I mean,
sir.
You could use these old stinky baits and catch some channel cats, but that blue cat and that flathead, most likely when you catch him, you're going to have good fresh bait to catch him.
I agree, and I do freeze bait though. Now I vacuum seal it, and I'll vacuum seal bluegill. People say I don't vacuum seal, I don't freeze bluegill. I do. I use it and I catch them.
Yeah, I do.
As hard as it is to catch bait in the wintertime, especially, if I've got some left over at the end of the day, I'm coming home and I'm going to vacuum seal it and put it in the freezer. And I've done it many a time and thawed it out and used it and caught fish with it.
Well, I work 5 days a week, and so I want to go fishing on Saturday. So, if that means I have to use that frozen bait out of the freezer, I'm going to use that frozen bait out of the freezer.
Hey, I've placed a Jack's bait store. Miss Kim over there, she keeps frozen skipjack. If I couldn't catch nothing else, I'd go pay her to buy frozen skipjack from her. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it takes. I mean, I've got where I was scared that I wasn't going to catch no bait because it's hard. And I would, she keeps some extra large jumbo shiners, and I bought a dozen of her from her. So I'm like, well, I'm gonna buy these, and then I'm gonna try to catch my bait too, because hey, that's better than, you know, when you drive an hour and a half, you want to catch something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Well, I'm 5 minutes from the boat ramp, but I still want to catch something.
You know, you've told me that 3 times, and I've started hating on you about that. You know that. But you're going to drive 3 hours, come down here. We're going to try to catch a monster.
Well, hey, I tell you what, I just soon drive that 3 hours because I feel like I have a better chance of catching quality fish where than I do where I'm at.
Well, I think they come more often. You know what I'm saying? You know, and there's a lot of people that don't catch them. I mean, it's just, and people can't expect to go once every 2 months and go, well, I went up there and I couldn't catch nothing. How's he doing this? What's he doing? You know, I'm on it every week. And then my buddy Joe, he's you know, he's got his YouTube. I'm talking about chat cast, but he's a guide up there. He fishes the weekends, you know, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I fish the week, and that's what we do. We talk, you know. You know, he'll hit me up. Hey, did you go this week? And I'll say yeah, and then he'll say, where'd you find him at? And I'll tell him where I was fishing at because I know he's gonna let him go anyway. And then I'll ask him. He'll give me a report over the weekend. Okay, what he done. So it's as good with me and him being as good friends we are. It's as good as if I'm fishing 3 or 4 times a week because between him and myself. So, you know, having that, and, you know, like I say, if you're going to go every 2 or 3 months, your chances are really low on and you're going to get them every now and then. But if you're out there every week on a boat, now it's a huge difference fishing from the bank, and I know that. But if you're out there on a boat and you're working to find those things, you'll learn a lot more. You'll keep up with where they're moving to, their movements and stuff like that, a lot more too. So it takes that.
Yeah.
And, you know, the biggest downside I found to our water, and maybe it's just us and the people I know that fish it, but I'll sit down and I'll watch a live stream, and somebody some of these other rivers, they'll be fishing from the bank, and so I know they're not changing spots, and they catch 40 fish in a couple hours. Now they're not all, but they're catching 40 fish in a couple hours. You might be able to some days hit the bank, you know, close to the bank and catch a bunch of channel cat shallow like that, but even then you're not catching those numbers.
Right.
The fish don't seem to school up as much. You know, we might catch 3 fish from one spot, and then that spot's dead. We've got to go to it. We've got
That's
to.
the way I am. That's the same way. I mean, except for up at the dam, like I say, you can catch, and then, of course, then once or later up in the day, they're going to stop hitting. But if you get there, I'm going to be an hour late from when I'd like to, because you guys are starting at 7:00 Central Time. If it was 7:00 Eastern Time, and I could really start there, I mean, you can really catch some channel cats just drifting that way I'm going to drift it. But like I say, I'm not going to do that just because I want to try to. And like I say, I'm talking right now, and I probably won't catch the first fish Saturday. That's the way it goes, right? I go up there and get some.
Well, I hope you do.
They'll go, look, that big fisherman there is talking all big on Thursday night, and he didn't catch a fish.
I just Hilljack joined in the chat.
Yeah.
Hilljack, us here at 3+1, all of us have been praying for you. We hope that you're feeling better. I seen you got out to go live today. I know you wasn't supposed to be. Hope it brought you some enjoyment. Glad you made it home safe. Not sure if you should be doing that, but you know, all the same, we're glad to see you in the chat and watch your past couple lives, and it's good to see you're doing okay. So we'll keep praying for you, and just wanted to put that out there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'd like to challenge some more people to get into this tournament to where we can have some more fun, have more boats in it too.
Yeah.
I know you guys have got some more openings.
2 or 3 spots open.
Yeah, we could handle a couple more people. Yeah, sure. Right now we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams,
Counting you.
counting us. We've
Yeah.
got 5 teams.
Yeah, I talked to Joe, and he would have done it, but he's going to not be able to go this weekend, so that would have been fun to have him in it too. But yeah, I mean, guys, if you guys want to do it, and shoot, I don't even know if y'all give them prizes. I could care less. I just want to do it for the fun.
This first one. This is the first one we've done. We're going to do more.
Yeah.
And everything we do, I want to say this right now. It's about growing the catfish. That's what we're all about. We want to put everybody out there. We want to grow together.
Yes, sir. I ain't jealous of nobody. I don't care if you got 1 million followers or 100 followers. You're the same person to me, the same way. You know, we all put our pants on the same way as long as we're wearing them, right?
That's right. And that's a great thing. I think just everybody in the catfish community is the same way.
Yes.
I see the guys that are doing great and their channels have really grown. They're battling, helping everybody else grow. And I think it's just like I said, the catfish community on YouTube, they're more than a community, they're family.
Right. And if anybody ever had a question about Tennessee River area, where I can't speak for other places, you can go, like I say, if you go to YouTube and Facebook and like my page and you send me a message, I'll do my best to answer anything I can about the area that I fish and how I fish and anything like that. Because like I say, we need to be encouraging people to do that. There's so many things that's so negative in this world. Guys, there's lots of things. But you get out there on that river and put all that stuff aside and enjoy ourselves. Get out front of the computers and all this news media stuff where all they're trying to do is get you so down and out.
Yep.
Yeah. You can really enjoy going out there fishing and the camaraderie amongst each other.
That's right. And another thing, get the kids in the outdoors.
Yes, sir.
These kids have too much opportunity to sit at home, sit behind a computer screen and stuff and not do anything. Get the kids in the outdoors. Get them enjoying the outdoors because they're the ones that's going to keep all of our resources alive in the future. So we've got to get them involved.
You want to see a kid get excited. I'm not trying to make people go watch my YouTube video. I'd like for you to.
Yes.
But yeah, if you want to go watch one, you want to see a kid get excited. I did my wife, Woody, and his wife and his son. I think his son's 8 or 9, maybe 8, 7 or 8, something like that. We just went out on the river to have a good time. I didn't even take my video cameras with me. And so we rode it around and then we stopped and I said, let's see if we can get Tristan a catfish. And man, we caught a 19-pound catfish. And you want to see a young man get excited. We were scrambling around trying to get a camera on and telephone video stuff. And man, he had a fun. It was so much fun. He'll bring that in the boat. And so it was 19 pounds. And so we're like, well, let's just see if we can get Woody's wife, Brandy, a fish. So pulled to another spot. Wow. It was a 47-pound flathead, I think. I can't remember sure, but I think it was 47-pound flathead she brought in. And then I said, okay, let's see if we can get my wife one. And so we moved to another spot. Wow, 33-pound blue. Now, that was one of the best enjoyments I ever been where, like I said, I didn't bring my cameras, the video. It was just having fun. And that young man, Tristan, it was just fun watching him. He started and he goes, I got a fish. it was I run Coach. It was on one of the first time I watched. I was like, now that's what it's all about. Get these kids into this kind of stuff. Get them to where they go out and fish and they want to do that instead of sitting in front of a TV frying their brains on video games. And I know that people probably won't like that either because I'm an old 57-year-old fogey, but get them out there, get them fishing, let them see how it is, and I guarantee you they'll enjoy that more than any video game they could ever play.
Well, you my children at Catapalooza, I believe. They're probably standing there right beside me, and I've got a 6 and a 7-year-old. My 7-year-old, he's in the videos with us quite a bit. But right as we talk in Catapalooza with our online ticket to get our real ticket, the lady there taking tickets said, young man, you like to fish? He said, yeah. And she said, you like to catch big fish? He said, love to. She said, this guy right here can tell you all you need to know about catching big fish. And she pointed to another gentleman that was standing there. Not sure who he was. Probably somebody well known by the way she talked, but I'm not sure. And he looked at him. He said, I don't need him. I caught a 31-pounder.
There you
I was
go.
proud of him all at the same time.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But,
He didn't need nobody. He knowed how to catch fish, didn't he?
yeah, I was like, well, that way she talks, he's probably quite a bit better fisherman than we are, Kenny.
I can't help that.
There's nobody in this world going to tell him he's not good at it.
There
And
you
he's a
go.
great fisherman for his age. But, it just brings me that joy because he's so confident in himself and it's really built him up.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and it will.
Need that.
It will build confidence in you. I mean, and that's just like me. Just it builds confidence in me when I go out and I catch those fish, and especially when I see them. That to me, it amazes me when I see them on that graph. With so many people talk about, well, you're just made. Most times people go, you're mainly looking for structure and stuff like that when you're catfishing. You're not going to really see them fishing. I am. You're gonna have to play it real hard to convince me that I'm not seeing a catfish. You know what I'm saying? And it boosts me up where I feel like every time I go out that I'll catch a fish just because I feel like if I can find them on that graph, I can catch them. You know. And I'm not trying to say like I'm the greatest fisherman in the world. I've just found a way to make me a decent fisherman and found that graph. You know. So. But like I say, avionics is real important too. So if you can't afford that, that down imaging and with the 2D avionics, I mean, just study the avionics. Look at how stuff intersects. Watch how, a bank drops off sharp, or just pay attention to how you caught that first fish. And then try to duplicate that somewhere else. And on the river, it can be you caught it here, and you may have to go a mile to find a place to duplicate that. Where on the lake, it's a little easier, I think. But watch what you're doing when you catch that first fish. And then if you catch the second fish same way, start trying to duplicate that. And then if you don't have that graph, if you can afford that, I don't even know what avionics cost. But if you can look at that avionics and go, oh, here's a place down the river that looks just like this, same thing. And you go down there and it does, try that spot. It will make a difference in your fishing, I believe.
All right. Well, I want to say to everybody again, go to Trophy Seekers Outdoors and check him out. He has great content, catches a lot of great fish. And
Tune in Saturday.
Tune in Saturday morning. We're going to be live with our tournament.
Yep.
It's going to be tag team fish rumble, and
looks like we just gained another entry to it. So
awesome.
Plenty of action.
So we're going to have 6 teams in it.
Yes.
We'll have some giveaways during it. So everybody tune in. Get ready.
7 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern.
No, Central Time.
Central Standard Time. And but we've already got the link up, so go over there, click on it, hit the remind button, turn on notifications, all that stuff. So appreciate all the thumbs up and all the chat. You want to pray us out? I
can. Daryl, do you have anything that you would like to, any advice you'd like to give everybody before we close it out?
No, just tune in Saturday and see if old Trophy Seekers get skunked. And we're all just talking about fishing. Let's just see if that old boy gets skunked. Thank y'all for asking me to come on, though. I enjoyed it. I told your wife again, you ain't got to worry about me not talking. I talk the horns off the billy goat, as they say. So thank y'all for letting me come on. Guys, I hope if you got any questions, I can answer anything you ever want, and I'll try to always be honest.
And we're definitely coming down to fish with you.
Whether you want to.
Oh, no, I want you to come. Just bring yourself. Don't worry about, you can bring your rod. You need rods if you want to or whatever, but shoot, just come on down and we'll, if we don't do anything else, we'll fellowship.
There you go.
That'll work. All right. I'm going to pray us out there. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for this night, Lord. Thank you for Daryl, Lord. We just ask your blessings upon him. We ask your blessings upon everybody cats, just all of our fellow fishermen. Lord, we just ask your guidance for you to always be the guiding light beneath our feet, Lord. And we ask your blessings and safety around us all Saturday as we fish our tournament. Lord, again, we just can't thank you and give you enough praise. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. We always say God, family, and the great outdoors. God bless and thanks for tuning in. Thank you, Darrell.